Okay, solving this equation. First thing, let's note that our restrictions. So I just look at that denominator, set that denominator equal to 0. My restriction is 5. And then my first step is I'm going to clear the fractions. My common denominator is x minus 5, and so I'm going to multiply everybody by x minus 5. So x minus 5, x minus 5, x minus 5. Cancel, 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 cancel. So I get 3x equals 15, and here distribute. And so plus 4x minus 20. Combine some like terms. And so I'm going to get 3x equals 4x minus 5. Get the x's together. So I get negative x equals negative 5. And then very, very specifically, just because I have some people that don't quite understand what negative x means, just means it's negative 1x. You do not have to write explicitly coefficients of negative 1. You just write the negative. And the same thing with coefficients of 1. You don't have to write it. But it really is a coefficient of negative 1. So I can divide both sides by negative 1, and I get x equal 5, which was a restriction. And so no solution. And so what is the solution? It is no solution. So letter C. And did it say whether it was inconsistent? Then it says whether it's an equation, a conditional equation, or inconsistent. It's inconsistent because I didn't get a solution. That I hit upon the restriction. The restriction means no solution, so that's letter C, and that makes it inconsistent. Okay, let's essentially do it again. Determine whether the equation is an identity, a conditional equation, or inconsistent. Okay, so it doesn't, the previous one said solve, and this one doesn't say solve. But when you read this, this pretty much means you got to solve it. To answer, to determine, we need to solve. And so again, clear my fraction. My common denominator in this case is 6. So 5 plus x minus 2 over 3 equals 2x plus 26 over 6. So multiply everybody by 6. 6, 6, 6. On the first one, that's just going to give me 30. On the next one, the 3 and the 6 cancel, leaving 2. And then distribute that 2. Then I'm going to have 2 times x for 2x and 2 times negative 2 for minus 4. On the end, the 6's just cancel. So I have 2x plus 26. And then finish solving, combining like terms here. So that's be 2x plus 26 equals 2x plus 26. Both sides are identical. So it's an identity. So I just start, when it says determine whether it's an identity, conditional equation, or inconsistent, you start by solving it, and then you interpret your result. And here we got that both sides were identical, so it's an identity. Same instructions. Next problem, again, just start by solving. So again, we're going to clear the fractions. My common denominator here is 30. Yep, 30. Common denominator between 5, 2, and 6, 30. And if, while the least, this is the least common denominator, but you can work with any common denominator. And if you can't, you're not good at finding common denominators, just multiply the denominators that you have there. And 5 times 2 times 3 is 30. That may not always give you the least common denominator, but it'll give you a number you can work with. So I'm going to copy this down again so it's a little bit bigger. And so I'm going to multiply everybody by 30. 30, 30, 30. Cancel. The 5 and the 30 cancel, leaving 6. 6 times 3x, 18x. The 2 and the 30 cancel, leaving 15. And then pulling that negative sign up there, negative 15, carefully distribute. You've got to be really careful with those negatives. So the 2 and the 30 cancel, leaving 15. And that sort of looks like 36. Let me rewrite that so it looks a little better. The 2 and the 30 cancel, leaving 15. Then I pulled that negative up there for negative 15. Then distributing negative 15 is going to give me negative 15x plus 30. So I really just kind of move that negative up there. So ignoring that negative I have underneath my finger, because I just moved it up there, I'm going to get negative 15x plus 30. And on the end, the 3 and the 30 cancel, leaving 10. Try to be consistent with my colors here. The 3 and the 30 cancel, leaving 10. And again, distribute that. And so I will have 10x plus 20. Combine like terms. So I have 3x plus 30 equals 10x plus 20. Get the x's together. Negative 7x plus 30 equals 20. Subtract the 30 from both sides. And I get x equals negative 10 over negative 7, 10/7. I got one answer, and so this is a conditional equation. When you get an answer, it's called a conditional equation. But again, you just start by solving and using your appropriate steps. And if you wanted to, you could take out your calculator, check this answer. But I really want this to be the last video in this section, so I'll leave the checking up to you. And now, the last problem in this section. Find all values of x such that y equals 0. And this is actually one of the simpler problems. It just looks harder. And so all this is saying is replace the y with a 0 and solve. That's all this problem is asking us to do. And so 0 equals 2 times the quantity 3x minus parentheses 4x minus 6 plus 2x in the square brackets minus 5 times x minus 6. Okay, working on this, we're going to work with the parentheses first. So I'm going to distribute there. Distribute. And distribute. And again, these things aren't necessarily written in stone. There might be other ways to start. And so I've got 0 equals 2 times minus 4x plus 6 plus 2x minus 5x plus 30. Then let's work inside these brackets here. So 3x minus 4x and 2x, where 0 equals 2 times x plus 6 minus 5x plus 30. Distribute again. And so I get 0 equals 2x plus 12 minus 5x plus 30. And we are almost there. We'll combine the x's. And we'll combine the constants. And so 0 equals negative 3x plus 42. Get that 3x over the other side. So 3x equals 42. And then divide by the 3. And we end up with x equals, and what that is, 14. And if we were asked whether that's conditional, inconsistent, or identity, that would be conditional, because we got one answer. And that completes this section, and so completes this video.